When Andrew Parker took off his wedding ring and turned to leave, I knew he'd been reborn too. The guests at the banquet murmured in surprise. Andrew's mother stood up angrily. "Andrew, where do you think you're going? Get back here now." Her only reply was his determined back as he strode out. I knew exactly where he was headed. Andrew had a secret obsession, a girl from his high school days he'd never been able to have. In our past life, on our wedding day, his obsession, Sophia Lane, had tried to take her own life. He blamed me for it all. During every fight, he'd glare at me like he wished I were dead. "It's all your fault. You killed her. You're the one who deserves to die." He wanted me gone, and eventually, I did die young in a car accident. Now, here we were, both reborn. From my past life memories, I knew Sophia was currently caught in a scandal storm, with compromising photos of her private life leaked on Twitter. The stress had worsened her depression, and she was planning to slit her wrists to prove her innocence. So the moment he left the ballroom, I knew he was desperate to change history. Too bad I had no intention of letting him. Even though I'd wasted my life in our loveless marriage last time, I'd still gone through with the ceremony. Grandma Parker had praised my virtue and gifted me 3% of Parker Corporation stock as part of the dowry. The wedding went off without a hitch, solidifying the partnership between the Parkers and the Moores. This time around, Andrew was too busy with Sophia to care about our relationship, so I had to take the initiative. When I arrived at his villa, I saw my luggage tossed on the front lawn from a distance. Andrew stood at the door, staring down at me coldly. That look sent a chill through me. In our past life, when our marriage fell apart in middle age, he'd looked at me the same way, spitting vicious words. "Every second with you is like swallowing a cockroach. You're disgusting." The memories flooded back. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and opened them again. Looking at Andrew's cold face, I felt nothing, no anger, no sadness. But the Moores were a respected family in high society. Having my luggage thrown out right after the wedding would be a disgrace. My family's maid stepped forward. "Mr. Parker, what is the meaning of this?" Before he could answer, a sultry woman stepped out from behind him, sneering at me. "Miss Moore, I've never seen someone so shameless. Andrew publicly left the wedding, and you still think you're Mrs. Parker? Pathetic." This was Sophia's replacement, his mistress, Mia. In our past life, she'd constantly bullied me, flaunting Andrew's favor. I'd endured her out of respect for our families, only to embolden her. This time, I wouldn't tolerate it. Sophia was still alive. What right did a cheap knockoff have to bark at me? I glanced at my maid, who nodded. She marched over and slapped Mia hard across the face. "Who do you think you are? You dare speak to our miss like that?" Then she shoved Mia to the ground and kicked her. Mia shrieked, "Andy, help me. It hurts." I scoffed, ignoring Andrew's expression. I grabbed Mia's chin and studied her face. Some replacement. She doesn't even look like Sophia. I slapped her twice more. "Are you speaking to me as a Parker servant? Or as Mr. Parker's mistress?" Andrew snapped, "Emily, that's enough." No, it wasn't nearly enough. He'd tortured me for years in our past life. I intended to collect every debt. I rubbed my wrist casually. "Is this the Parker family's idea of commitment?" He frowned, silent, calculating. He knew the Parkers' success last time had relied on the Moores. In our past life, he'd kept mistresses hidden because he needed our alliance. This time, confident his upcoming investment would succeed, he'd brought Mia into the villa openly. But the deal wasn't closed yet. Who could guarantee no accidents? "Andrew, this is a business partnership. I, Emily Moore, am not a doormat. Choose the alliance. Or your mistress." His face darkened. He looked from me to Mia, now sobbing on the ground, and finally conceded. We struck a deal. He'd maintain the facade of marriage, keep Mia out of my sight, and transfer 2% more stock to me. In return, I'd turn a blind eye to his affairs. He agreed easily. With his past life knowledge, the stock meant nothing to him. What he didn't know, I'd been reborn too. I promptly replaced every servant in the villa with more loyalists, just like last time. Soon, news reached me. Andrew had rescued Sophia and installed her in Bellevue Manor, a notorious luxury apartment complex for mistresses. Strangely, he hadn't cleared her name online. After 2 lifetimes together, I knew his game. Bellevue Manor was a gilded cage. He wanted to break Sophia into becoming his mistress. How noble, just as sleazy as ever. But Sophia wasn't one to bend easily. Rumor had it she'd been fighting with Andrew non-stop since moving in. Well, why not help them along? A week later, Andrew and I arrived at a gala arm-in-arm. Mr. and Mrs. Parker make such a handsome couple. Congratulations on the marriage. Andrew raised his glass with a smile. Thank you, but the Smiths are the real power couple. Just then, a commotion erupted. I set down my glass with a smirk. Showtime. The crowd rushed over. In the center of the ballroom, a drunk man was dragging Sophia Lane by the arm. I secretly glanced at Andrew, his jaw was clenched. Angry. Still cares. The man slurred, you think you're some saint? Everyone knows you're a slut. Acting innocent with me now? I ought to teach you a lesson. Sophia struggled fiercely. Let go of me. Have some respect. The man leered. You weren't so shy when we met before. What, trying to rebrand as a virgin now that your sex tape's viral? The crowd tittered, eyeing her chest and legs suggestively. Sophia bit her lip, tears pooling as she turned to Andrew for help. His face was ice. He balled his fists, ready to intervene, but I grabbed his arm. Andy, don't. Not in front of everyone. Think about our families. I clung to him, voice trembling with fake desperation. For my sake, for the Parker-Moore partnership. He ignored me, prying my hand off. He kicked the drunkard aside and shielded Sophia. Touch her again, and you'll regret it. The man scrambled up, yelling, Who the hell are you? I just wanted a drink. Andrew cut him off. She's under my protection. Mess with her, and you're messing with Parker Corp. The mention of Parker sobered him instantly. He knelt, babbling apologies. Mr. Parker, I had no idea. I'm sorry. I thought she was your mistress. The crowd gasped. His mistress? But his wife is Miss Moore. Look, there's Mrs. Parker now. Watching her husband protect another woman. Isn't that Sophia Lane? The porn star? She's his high school crush? Poor Miss Moore. Heard he has tons of mistresses. She's in for a rough ride. My eyes welled with tears as I stared at Andrew. He glanced at me coldly, then pulled Sophia toward the exit. I watched them leave, grabbed my clutch, and slipped out, wiping my tears as soon as my back was turned, a smirk tugging at my lips. Andrew Parker, after 2 lifetimes, you still can't outplay me. Back at the villa, I ordered his belongings thrown into the yard and his study trashed. News of the banquet spread like wildfire. Grandma Parker called immediately, demanding I return to the estate. By the time Andrew stormed home to find his sanctuary destroyed, I was already en route to the mansion. As I stepped out of the car, I pinched my thigh hard, forcing tears to my eyes. Grandma Parker took one look at my distressed face and patted my hand. That boy has gone too far, she growled, reaching for her phone. I'll make him apologize, bring that Sophia girl here and make her kneel. I pretended to hesitate, voice quivering. It's okay, Mom. Our marriage is a business deal. Sophia was his first love. I understand why he'd choose her. I sniffled. I just wish I could make him love me back. Her expression softened. Emily, you're the only daughter-in-law I recognize. Tomorrow, you start at the company as vice president. He'll learn to respect you. She handed me a set of diamond earrings and a key to the corporate suite. I thanked her profusely, hiding a smirk. Silly old woman. How long will you keep playing the doting grandmother? After a few days at the mansion, I returned to find the villa fully renovated. Draping my coat over a chair, I sneered at Andrew. No invite for your little girlfriend? I thought she'd want to see your new home. He scowled. Emily, watch your tone. I laughed. My tone? What about the tone of every gossip column in the city? Parker heir publicly defends mistress over wife. Classy. His face flushed. Don't push me. I slapped him hard across the cheek. Don't push you? You humiliated me in front of everyone. Our deal was, keep your sluts out of my sight. You broke it. Now you'll pay. He touched his cheek, speechless, knowing he was in the wrong. Suddenly, his expression shifted to faux contrition. Babe, let's not fight. I made your favorite chicken soup. He pushed a bowl toward me. Peace offering? I stared at him, recalling our past life, how this same innocent act had fooled me for decades. In my first life, I'd loved Andrew fiercely, pouring everything into Parker Corp, transforming from a socialite to a CEO. But he'd hated my success, demanding I surrender my role. When his mistress showed up with a child, I realized he'd been cheating for years. On our way to sign the divorce papers, I died in a car crash. But my spirit lingered. I followed Andrew home, overhearing him and Grandma Parker plotting my accident. He tampered with the brakes, she said, stirring tea. And the miscarriage? Your little pills worked perfectly. You gave me no choice. She refused to give up her shares. Quiet. She was family, and you treated her like a threat. Family? I'd given my life to their company, only to be called a threat. I watched Andrew cry at my funeral, then burn my belongings. The next day, he moved his mistress into our bedroom. That night, as they lay together, he suddenly screamed, pointing at my ghost. She's here. She knows about the baby. Grandma Parker hissed, it's just guilt. The pills caused the miscarriage, she'll never know. My unborn child. I trembled with rage, unable to touch them, to scream. If only I could go back. Now, I have that chance. This time, Andrew Parker and his mother will pay, in ways they can't even imagine. Andrew pretended to enjoy dinner with me, then left in a hurry. No need to ask, he was off to comfort Sophia. Though I feigned indifference, one of my maids whispered. Mr. Parker poured himself a glass of scotch before leaving. My teacup froze mid-air. In our past life, he'd spiked my prenatal vitamins with abortifacients. This time, with Grandma Parker handing me corporate power to keep me compliant, he must be panicking. His old trick, hallucinogenic drugs in my food, to make me go mad quietly, with no questions from the Moors. What he didn't know, every servant in this villa reported directly to me. The pills he'd planted? He'd be taking them instead. I nodded at the maid. Double his usual dose from now on. Then I asked, how's the Moore family's plan progressing? She smiled. Ready to execute at your command. But Mississippi Lane requested a meeting. After weighing the risks, I visited Sophia when Andrew was out. He'd installed her in a penthouse at the city's most exclusive address, proof of his devotion. She was lying on a chaise in a silk dress, reading Austen, looking every inch the delicate ingenue. No wonder he'd obsessed over her for decades. Emily, you came, she said, rising quickly. This wasn't our first meeting. The day I was reborn, I'd sought her out, back when Twitter trolls were slut-shaming her for old modeling photos, orchestrated by Andrew, of course. Society judges women harshly. A man with a good physique is praised, a woman with curves is asking for it. Beauty is a liability, not an asset, especially for actresses. I'd cleared her name, told her the truth about Andrew, suggested a fake death to escape. Her mother had been my mother's best friend, after all. I just hadn't known Andrew would be reborn too. I removed my coat, studying her. Have you decided? She poured tea, steadying her hand. Yes. He trusts me now. It won't be long before I have the evidence. Her grip tightened on the cup. Every wrong they've done, they'll pay double. I hesitated. Sophia, this could destroy you too. Are you sure? She nodded sharply. Absolutely. When I learned Andrew was reborn, I'd weaponized his love for Sophia, positioning her as the vulnerable damsel to spark his protective instincts. But now, we needed one final push. The next day, Grandma Parker texted us to dine at the mansion. Perfect timing. I messaged Sophia, make sure Andrew takes you out today. She sent back a location, a luxury jewelry boutique. When I arrived, Andrew was holding a diamond ring up to Sophia's finger. His eyes widened at the sight of me. He stepped in front of her, shielding her like a knight. I nodded to my bodyguard, who dragged him to the floor. Emily, what the hell? Let me go, he snarled. Ignoring him, I grabbed the ring from Sophia's hand and backhanded her across the face. She gasped, tears springing to her eyes as she looked to Andrew for help. His face turned purple. You bitch. Don't you dare touch her. Onlookers crowded in, phones filming. I slapped him next, calm as ice. Shouting already? Did I hit too softly? You think the Moors will let you buy engagement rings for your mistress? The crowd murmured, cheating heir, scorned wife, public spectacle. This would be trending on Twitter by nightfall. I struck him again. He stared, shocked, then lunged for me. Emily, I'll kill you. Parker Manor's butler intervened. Master Andrew, the mistress insists you return home immediately. She asks if her orders no longer matter. At the mention of Grandma, his rage faded. Fine. But you didn't have to attack us like a damn shrew. Sophia interjected weakly, it's my fault, please don't fight. Shut up, Sophia, I snapped. Mistresses should know their place, in the shadows, not parading around like a wife. The crowd tittered. Andrew's ears turned red. Before he could retort, Sophia swayed and collapsed into his arms. He scooped her up, growling, if she's hurt, you'll regret this for the rest of your life. As he stormed off, I called after him. Regret? Let's see who's begging for mercy by the end, Andrew. I watched his retreating back, smirking. This game of chess, he still thinks he's the player. Little does he know, he's been a pawn from the start. As soon as Andrew left, I dissolved into tears and rushed back to Parker Manor. Before I could speak, the butler interjected. Madam, Master Andrew won't be joining us. Grandma Parker clutched her prayer beads, scowling. What could be more important than the family? The butler glanced at me. He's at the hospital with Mississippi Lane. Her fury intensified. Ungrateful wretch. Fetch him, by force if necessary. And that's Sophia. She hissed, teach her a lesson. No gutter rat climbs into the Parkers. I feigned magnanimity, though inwardly scoffing. Mom, please don't stress yourself. Andrew is just nostalgic for high school. He'll come around. She slammed the table. Sophia isn't fit to polish your shoes. I won't allow it. She sighed, softening. I worry for you, Emily. You're too good for him. Liar, I thought. You just hate the Lanes. Decades ago, Grandma had loved Sophia's father but lost him to another woman. Bitter after marrying a philandering Parker heir, she'd nursed a grudge against the entire Lane family. She couldn't bear seeing Andrew fixate on Sophia, not when she'd suffered so much to secure the Parker legacy. To keep me quiet, she showered me with compliments and let me pick jewelry from her vault. I chose the most expensive diamond necklace without hesitation. Then, I feigned reluctance. Mom, maybe Andrew should have the VP role back. After recent events, I feel unqualified. She snorted. Nonsense. You have my full support. Who dares question you? To my reluctant acceptance, she handed over full operational control of Parker Corp. My act must have convinced her. I did seem devoted to Andrew. Minutes after returning to the villa, Sophia's text arrived. Got it. I smiled at my maid. Tell the Moors, it's time. The final act was about to begin. The Parker-Moore alliance had boosted Parker Corp's profits exponentially. This year's annual gala was a spectacle, attended by CEOs from Wall Street to Silicon Valley. I wore an emerald silk dress, every inch the poised socialite. Sophia, now the company's face, arrived on Andrew's arm. Grandma paraded me around, greeting guests, when Andrew finally showed up, just as we were about to take the stage. The ballroom doors burst open. A pregnant woman was dragged in by two middle-aged person. Sophia and I exchanged a glance, smiling subtly. Grandma snapped, "Who are you? Get out." The man roared, "Your son knocked up my daughter. Now he's dodging responsibility. We want justice, or everyone here will know what a scumbag he is." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Andrew shot to his feet. I've never seen her in my life. The man scoffed, pressing play on his phone. A grainy recording played, Andrew's voice, clear despite background noise. The kid is none of my business. You think you can blackmail the Parkers? Get an abortion before I make you disappear. The man paused the audio. That's your golden boy, isn't it? 10 million to bury this, or I'll send it to every news outlet in the city. Grandma snarled, "How dare you extort us?" The woman retorted, "You think you're better than us? Your family is rotten to the core." Andrew lunged, slapping her across the face. Her husband charged, fists flying. The two men brawled as guests scrambled back. Seconds later, reporters swarmed in, cameras flashing. Grandma clutched her chest, gasping. I steadied her, feigning concern. Mom, are you? Before I could finish, Andrew collapsed with a thud. The husband stood over him, a broken champagne bottle in hand, blood pooling on the floor. Grandma wailed and fainted. I called 911, watching the chaos with a smirk. Perfect. The Parker dynasty, built on lies and greed, was finally crumbling. And I, Emily Moore, would be the one to bury it. The gala ended with police sirens. Andrew and Grandma were rushed to the hospital. Parker Corp scandals trended for days, stocks plummeted, and the board grew restless. But I stayed calm. Andrew had a few stitches on his head, but his distress was mostly due to the pills I'd been feeding him, hallucinogens he thought were for me. Karma, as they say. When Grandma woke, I rushed to her bedside. How's Andrew? And those filthy people, where are they? I bit my lip, feigning helplessness. He's awake, but traumatized. The doctors say it's from the blow. And the family, they've agreed to drop charges. The baby will be aborted. Her face darkened. We should be suing them. How dare you? Mom, the press has destroyed our reputation. The stocks. I sighed. The company is in chaos. At stocks, she paled, handing me full emergency authority. I accepted immediately. The next day, Andrew lost his mind and drove off, chasing Sophia, who was leaving town. It was all staged. Even drugged, his obsession with her was useful. Soon, I got the call. Andrew's car had crashed into a truck on the highway. The guardrail saved his life, but his leg was crushed, likely amputated. Grandma blamed me instantly. Why let him drive? Who authorized this? His maid said he was rushing to the airport for Sophia, I stammered. At Sophia, she cursed, that family is a plague. Then the doctor emerged. Andrew was alive, but a vegetable, unlikely to wake. I burst into tears. Grandma fainted again. As she was wheeled into ICU, I straightened my silk dress. What she didn't know, the Moores had bought this hospital weeks ago. Staff were all my people. The Parkers were now prisoners in their own safe haven. When board director Lee visited, Grandma was still in ICU. What do we do? The stocks are free-falling, he panicked. I glanced at the butler, who stepped forward. Madam is the only one who can save the company. The mistress already granted her control. Lee hesitated. The butler pressed, with the master and mistress incapacitated, she's our only hope. And she's carrying the heir. At heir, Lee nodded eagerly. Emily, we need you. I pretended to waver. But my pregnancy. For the baby's future, you must take the reins. Perfect. The Parker-Moore marriage had always been a takeover strategy. With allied board members and Grandma's shares, seizing control was easy. After restructuring, stocks hit rock bottom, but I owned the majority now. When Grandma learned the truth, I visited with a surprise. How are you feeling, Mom? I asked, arranging flowers. She sneered, you'd prefer me dead. Not at all. You need to meet your grandchild. Her brow furrowed. Grandchild? I touched my stomach, smirking. I'm pregnant. Your bloodline continues. Crafty as the Moores, she hissed. Not as crafty as you were with the Lanes. Just then, Sophia entered. See how Andrew obsessed over me? Just like you obsessed over my father, I said. Grandma recoiled, screaming, whore. Like your mother. Sophia slapped her twice. Watch your mouth. You killed my parents, stole our company. I have proof on this phone. Want to see jail in your old age? Grandma paled. Cooperate with the board, I said, or we hit send. As we left, her screams followed us. No escape, we held all the cards. And the pregnancy? A fake. I'd paid Mia's family $10 million to let their newborn pose as mine. A son for the Parker legacy? Cheap at twice the price. Days after the board meeting, Andrew woke up. No surprise, his vegetative state was staged. But his legs were truly gone, he'd never walk again. I visited with a bowl of chicken soup, the same recipe he'd used to drug me. Remember this, Andy? The soup you fed me when I was pregnant? His eyes widened, horrified. I smiled darkly. Why did our baby die after I drank it, He scrambled back, knocking the bowl over. How do you know about the past life? Who are you? I slapped him. You're not the only one reborn. Leaning in, I hissed. You're a monster. Sophia hates you, your mother destroyed her family. And now? I run Parker Corp. He snarled, you're not a Parker. You can't. I yanked his hair. Everyone thinks you're brain dead. You're never leaving this room. Ever. As I walked out, he collapsed to the floor, screaming, I'll make you pay. The door shut, silencing him. The next day, Sophia handed police evidence of Grandma's crimes, fraud, embezzlement, even murder. The scandal broke, and public outrage was vicious. On the day she was arrested, the sun shone brightly. Word came, Andrew had gone insane, screaming about ghosts and past lives. Sophia and I sipped tea that afternoon. Aren't you tempted to remarry? She asked. I laughed. Why? I have a son, a billion-dollar company, and no husband to boss me around. I can date whoever I want. She shook her head, grinning. Fair enough. Thanks for everything, Emily. I raised my cup. To new beginnings. To new beginnings.